Welcome back to the Elephant Lounge. I'm your host, Tuesday. I want to thank you for joining me. I know everyone is talking about it, but I have to talk about this as well. Jussie Smollett. What in the hell is going on? So I'm going to read from the Chicago Tribune. They released an article not long ago. It says, in a stunning reversal, Cook County prosecutors abruptly dropped all charges in an indictment accusing Smollett of staging the January 29 attack in Streeterville and falsely claiming he was a victim of a hate crime. In exchange, prosecutors said Smollett agreed to forfeit the $10,000 he'd posted for his bond and perform community service. The purported deal appeared to be hastily arranged. Smollett only completed the community service Monday and apparently was not put in writing. While prosecutors claimed to have overwhelming evidence, the deal did not require Smollett to admit he did anything wrong. And of course he didn't. He appeared today to make a statement and he's smiling, he's smirking, he keeps saying he's innocent. What's more, Smollett's lawyers have vehemently disputed there was an agreement at all, and now the entire court file has been sealed at the defense's request. The unanswered questions surrounding the development left many wondering what might have happened behind the scenes. It also appeared to have caught Chicago police brass by surprise and brought swift condemnation by Mayor Emanuel, who called it a whitewash of justice. From top to bottom, this is not on the level, Emanuel told reporters at an afternoon news conference, emphasizing repeatedly that a grand jury had chosen to bring 16 counts of disorderly conduct against Smollett. Where's the accountability in the system? That's exactly what I'd like to know. What in the hell is going on? The arrangement came to light as Smollett appeared unexpectedly Tuesday morning for a previous unscheduled hearing at the Lytton Criminal Court building. Wearing a blue wool coat, Smollett stood silently in Circuit Judge Stephen Watkins' small third-floor courtroom as prosecutors announced they were dropping all charges. At the request of the actor's attorney, the judge agreed to seal the entire court record, a move that prosecutors did not oppose. Why are they sealing this? If they're going to drop all charges because I guess they don't feel it's big enough to prosecute, okay, I guess, but doesn't the public have a right to know what's going on here? Why would this stuff be sealed? The proceedings were over within minutes. Afterward, the state's attorney's office issued a one-sentence statement that attempted to explain the about face, but instead only added to the confusion. You think? Smollett's lawyers, meanwhile, professed the actor's innocence. Innocence? Accusing police of trying the case in the media and insinuating that the two brothers who alleged that Smollett hired them to carry out the attack were the ones who should have been charged in the first place. Oh, really? Before departing the courthouse, Smollett, 36, thanked his attorneys, family, friends, and Chicago for supporting him through what he called an incredibly difficult time for me. He then thanked the state of Illinois for attempting to do what's right. How is this what's right? Seriously, someone explain this to me. I've been truthful and consistent from day one, said Smollett, wearing sunglasses and reading from notes as his hand shook. Truthful and consistent, really? Is that so? Is that why you didn't hand over your phone records? Is that why you didn't call the police right away until 40 minutes after you were attacked? Is that why you were still wearing a noose around your neck for no reason? This guy has just balls of steel or something. In a telephone interview Tuesday afternoon, First Assistant State's Attorney Joseph Maggots, who took the charge of the case after State's Attorney Kim Foxx stepped aside, and she'll be coming up more on her. Okay, State's Attorney Kim Foxx stepped aside because of a conflict of interest, empathetically denied that the move to drop the charges against Smollett was a signal of any weakness with the evidence. Maggots said the office reached an unwritten deal with the defense in recent weeks to drop the charges if Smollett forfeited the $10,000 bond. It was actually a $100,000 bond, and that he only paid the 10%. So why not make him pay $100,000? If his bond was $100,000, and then he had to do community service, an arrangement he characterized as a routine way to resolve nonviolent charges against first-time offenders. He's not a first-time offender. He's lied to police before. when he did a DUI, although I believe that was out in California, so maybe they don't consider it because it's in a different state. I guess that's possible. I think that is the case. I think a misdemeanor in a different state is like if you're in a different state, you have a clean record. The bottom line is we stand behind the investigation. We stand behind the decision to charge him. Maggots, a career prosecutor who's been with the office for nearly 3 decades, told the Tribune. The fact that Smollett feels that we have exonerated him, we have not. I can't make it any clearer than that. The state's attorney's office later released a letter from the Rainbow Push Coalition that said Smollett had performed community service, but just for 2 days, on Saturday and Monday. 2 days of community service? That's it? The letter said Smollett spent several hours in their store managing sales and later gave suggestions to staff. Oh, please. What kind of suggestions are you going to give them? Steal the money and blame it on someone else? He also took questions from students about music and film industries. Who would want to ask this guy a question about film or music? Later, though, a spokesman for Rainbow Push, which was founded on the South Side by Reverend Jesse Jackson, said the civil rights organization was unaware that Smollett's assistance had any connection to his court case. He was just a volunteer, Don Terry said. Oh, really? So how does that count for community service? Smollett's attorney, Patricia Brown Holmes, denied any deal had been made with prosecutors, contrary to Maggott's account. Well, that's interesting. So they're saying that there was an unwritten deal. The prosecutor, that's what they're saying. And then his attorney saying, nope, there was no deal. The state's attorney's office simply dropped the charges, according to Holmes. Smollett agreed to forfeit his bond so he could go on with his life and get over this, she said. Well, the rest of us aren't over it. This guy spit in the face of all Americans, and especially those of us that are Trump supporters. Smollett had posted 10% of the bond, $10,000. So if his bond is $100,000, why doesn't he have to pay the full bond? If he's going to pay, he needs to pay. Ordinarily, that money would be returned to him or his attorneys, but instead it will be handed over to the city of Chicago. In a telephone interview, Eric Sussman, Maggott's predecessor as Fox's top aide, said the abrupt, secretive nature of the deal, quote, raises questions as to whether there is embarrassing information the state's attorney's office doesn't want the public to know. Quote, I've never ever seen anything like this, Sussman, now in private practice, said of the decision to drop charges so soon after Smollett's indictment earlier this month. He was indicted on 16 counts by a grand jury. And someone just comes in and says, oh, we're just going to drop all the charges. Maggott's denied, however, that the dropping of the charges either signaled weak evidence or a desire for secrecy. Then why seal the records? And why didn't you protest that? It's a mistake and it's wrong to read into the decision that there was something wrong or that we learned something about the case that we didn't already know. Maggott's told the Tribune. Okay, well, that's wonderful, but why are the records being sealed? The baffling turnabout left Emanuel and Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson fuming, and they were. The superintendent was pretty mad, visibly angry. If you get a chance, watch that. Both were careful not to directly criticize the state's attorney's office, but instead focused their contempt on Smollett. The mayor suggested that Smollett was given special treatment because of his celebrity and scoffed at the $10,000 Smollett bond money given to the city as part of the deal. It wouldn't come close to the city's expenditures for investigating the alleged attack. Well, no shit. You cannot have, because of a person's position, one set of rules apply to them and another set of rules apply to everybody else, the mayor said. Johnson stood by the work of the detectives and said he believed the city was owed an apology. And that's just it. He didn't even apologize. He didn't even admit what he had done. They didn't even require him to confess. I could understand if he had admitted he had done wrong and he apologized and then you pay the money and you do community service. None of that was done. This guy's walking. Quote, do I think justice was served? No, said Johnson, who memorably blasted Smollett at a news conference last month announcing the charges, saying at the time that the hoax dragged Chicago's reputation through the mud. I've heard that they wanted their day in court with TV cameras so America could know the truth, the superintendent said. And now they choose to hide behind secrecy and broker a deal to circumvent the justice system. He lied. That's what Jesse does. Of course he's going to lie and continue to lie. Area Central Detective Commander Edward Wodnicki, whose detectives led the investigation, said prosecutors gave no heads up to police that the charges would be dropped. He also expressed concern that it left it looking as if police mishandled the investigation. Detectives uncovered, quote, overwhelming, unquote, evidence against Smollett, he said. It's absolutely a punch in the gut, Wodnicki told a Tribune reporter. We worked very, very closely throughout our 3-week investigation to the point where we arrested the offender. So for the state's attorney's office to, at this point, to dismiss the charges without discussing this with us is all just shocking. Wow, they didn't even tell the police. Smollett's lawyer, meanwhile, said she was not privy to the evidence that led prosecutors to bring charges, but she accused Johnson of trying the case in the press. When asked if authorities should investigate who actually attacked Smollett, Holmes noted that the two brothers, both of whom knew Smollett, had already admitted their involvement and what they said was a staged attack. She said, the two men who attacked him have indicated they attacked him, so we already know who attacked him. Excuse me, if those men actually had attacked Jesse, he would be in a coma to this day. What motive did they have for attacking him? Even if we go by Jesse's story that he paid this guy $3,500 to work out with him. What is the motive for attacking him? What is the motive to bring in this whole storyline of Trump supporters and this is MAGA country? They were friends. They were co-workers. This guy was going to train him. There's no logical explanation here other than what these men told the police, that he staged this attack. When asked whether she was calling for the brothers to be charged, Holmes said that is a decision for prosecutors to make. We don't want to try them in the press any more than Smollett wanted to be tried in the press, she said. Holmes, a Chicago attorney, was among a team of lawyers for Smollett, including, here we go, high-profile entertainment attorney Mark Geragos from Los Angeles, who did not attend Tuesday's hearing. Well, we know why that is. On Monday, Geragos was identified by the Associated Press as an unindicted co-conspirator in a multi-million-dollar plot by attorney Michael Avenatti to extort Nike. Reached by phone Tuesday, attorney Gloria Schmidt, who represents the brothers, declined to comment. Why would she not comment on this? I don't know. That seems a little odd to me. Who knows? Fox recused herself from the case last month after revealing she had contact with Smollett's representatives early on in the investigation. She declined to provide details at the time. Communications later released to the Tribune, however, showed Fox had asked Superintendent Johnson to turn over the investigation to the FBI after she was approached by a politically connected lawyer about the case. Fox reached out to Johnson after Tina Titchen, I'm not pronouncing that correctly, I apologize, former chief of staff to First Lady Michelle Obama, emailed Fox saying the actor's family had unspecified, quote, concerns about the investigation, unquote. To Chen, a close friend of Mayor Emanuel's wife, said she was acting on behalf of the Empire actor and his family. A relative later exchanged texts with Fox. Oh boy. I mean, you want to talk about the webs people weave. The exchanges began February 1st, 3 days after Smollett said the attack occurred. It would still be 2.5 weeks before he was charged with making the story up. But some media outlets were already starting to question the actor's account, citing unnamed police sources. Kiera Ellis, a spokeswoman for the state's attorney's office, said at the time that Smollay's relative was specifically concerned about leaks to the media that purportedly came from the police department. Maggot said prosecutors informed Chicago police officials Tuesday morning of the decision to drop the charges against Smollay, but he noted that the office had been in contact with police from the beginning about potential options for resolving the case. Quote, the investigation done by CPD and the detectives was outstanding, Maggot said. The fact that the case is disposed of alternatively is not and should not be read as some type of statement that the case is flawed. Okay. Fair enough. There had been no clue that prosecutors planned to drop the charges before the announcement in court. In fact, there likely would have been no reporters in the courtroom if it hadn't been for a publicist from Smollay's attorney alerting the news media Tuesday morning that Smollay was already in court for an unscheduled emergency hearing. So this was just out of nowhere. Out of nowhere, they have this hearing. Moments after the judge allowed the dismissal, attorneys for Smollay issued a statement saying his record has been wiped clean of the filing of this tragic complaint against him. Wiped clean. Why? If he didn't do anything wrong, why would this have to be wiped clean? You want to sit here and say he's innocent. He wants to say he's innocent, but yet we have to wipe this clean? We have to seal the records? This makes no sense. There was a deal done. Jussie was attacked by two people he was unable to identify on January 29th, the statement read. He was a victim who was vilified and made to appear as a perpetrator as a result of false and inappropriate remarks made to the public, causing an inappropriate rush to judgment. No, it's because his story was stupid on its surface. Walking home from a subway at minus 20 degrees wind chill weather and getting attacked by what appears to be two very, 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 very large black men, and saying somebody in downtown Chicago attacked him and then told him, this is MAGA country. Yeah, no, racist people are not going to be watching Empire. They're not going to know who the hell this guy is. The actor, who is African American and openly gay, has said he was walking from a Subway sandwich shop to his apartment in the 300 block of East North Water Street about 2 a.m. January 29th when two men walked up, yelled racial and homophobic slurs, hit him, and wrapped a noose around his neck. That's why, okay? That's why people questioned him. That story right there. Not believable. Smollay said they also yelled, "This is MAGA country," in reference to President Donald Trump's campaign slogan, "Make America Great Again." Police initially treated the incident as a hate crime, but their focus turned to Smollay after the two brothers, who were alleged to have been his attackers, told police that Smollay had paid them $3,500 to stage the attack with a promise of an additional $500 later. Because that makes sense. That's why. Police pieced together much of their evidence by reviewing footage from about 55 police and private surveillance cameras showing the brothers' movements before and after the attack. Yeah, and he's talking to these guys before his attack, after his attack, and then later on. Gee, that's really, really funny. I guess we're supposed to just ignore all that. He's a victim. The shift in the investigation came amid intense news media coverage and often bitter police debate and stinging skepticism on social media. Smollay addressed those doubts in a national TV interview and in a strongly worded statement after the brothers were released from custody after questioning by police. A week before the alleged attack, Smollay told police he received a threatening letter at work. Prosecutors said Smollay staged the attack because he was unhappy with the studio's response to the threatening letter. Chicago police took it a step further, accusing Smollay of faking the letter as well. Federal authorities are conducting a separate investigation into that letter. Why is it taking so long for the federal authorities? It has been 2 months now, and we still haven't heard anything from the federal authorities. Are they going to try and get him with a federal crime? Is that what they're going to do? Look, I am not a person that gets into conspiracies. I don't believe in all of that. However, this kind of a deal, this kind of sweeping everything under the rug in this way, it is alarming and it is very concerning. And of course, when you seal the records, you are going to spark outrage. And of course, people are going to try and put all this stuff together and say, this fox was talking to Michelle Obama's assistant and this and that. And you've got pictures with this guy and Michelle Obama and Barack Obama. Of course, people are going to be speculating what's going on here. This guy is politically connected. Is there a conspiracy here? Look, I don't know. I can't prove that. And I don't know that it's necessary for us to sit here and speculate that. But I can see why people go down that rabbit hole. I can understand why people would think this. If he didn't do anything wrong, then there's no reason to wipe clean a record. There's no reason to seal anything. If this is just routine, they want us to believe that this is routine. Okay, fine. Fair enough. He doesn't have a record. They're not going to go after him that much. I can understand that and see that. I think it's ridiculous, but technically there's no real victim here aside from, just being distasteful and slandering half the country. Okay, I get it. I get it. I understand. It's not the end of the world. But I'm telling you, something is just weird here. Now, the other theory, could it be, and I've heard this speculated by some people, Mark Geragos just kind of got intertwined with this Michael Avenatti case? Could it be that Jussie Smollett gave the state some information about that? I don't know. It'd be interesting to say the least. I can only speculate. I'm not exactly sure. But in any case, I wanted to talk about this because it's really, really disturbing and a bit annoying. Okay, so let me know what you think and what are your thoughts, and do you think that there's some conspiracy here? Do you think maybe it has to do with his attorney? I don't know. What are your thoughts? Because I just don't know what to think at this point. I'll be back.